Welcome back to Jessup Says Home. What I'm planning to do here is to cut strips, something I prepared earlier. Still a bit tacky. So these are the door frames, and I am planning to apply rattan to the back. Typically I staple the rattan round the frame, and I don't want to necessarily see that rattan overlap. So I'm going to put this in place so that we hide the staples, and it's a really nice finish. Here I needed to saw these to the right length, and so I used a little hacksaw, and then it was a matter of just repeating the process. There you go! Up next, I just wanted to give them a really nice little sand to make sure they were finished really cleanly. I got on a roll here. I'm using, I think it was 220 grit, just for a nice sand. So we're planning to here I'm just making sure I've got the right measurements, laying it out, and I know it will tighten once it does dry, so I'm giving myself a bit of extra loops to ensure I have that to staple through on the surrounding. And so that will make sure that once it's soaked for 30 minutes, you stretch it to the space that you want to do, and when it dries really taut. We're going to get this soaked. We're going to place warm water in the sink. Using my water bottle as a weight. You can see it curls up in there. So I just want to make sure it stays flat. Might need to get a little bit more weight. I can see it curling at the corners. Got a jar. Oh, that was my head. Right. Oh, we've got a big curl going on here. Let's just see if we flip it over, does that help? That might help. There we go. Yeah, there we go. 2 water weights, 30 minutes, start the clock now. So I'm going in here with my staple gun. You can do this with a hand stapler, or I just recently got an electric one and highly recommend them. It's much faster and easier on the hands, especially if you have small hands. I particularly find this one quite difficult. Right, we are almost at assembly point. The next step here is I just want to finish off this rattan with some nice wood to just cover up that fringe there and the staples. So what I'm going to be using today is some Gorilla wood glue, a few tacks in it, and then clamping that together until that's all tightly sealed. I'll see how we go in terms of that finish, but depending on how it looks, I might end up painting it white, or it might just be a lovely detail. We will see how it goes. Here I'm just doing the wood glue along the length, and then I lay that down and tack it in at 3 points along the wooden bit. I should also mention, when I stapled, I went through the loops and I tried to do as many in a continuous row as possible to give it a nice, secure, tight finish. Here I'm just taking care to make sure it's aligned to the frame, but also that it's covering up those fraying edges from the rattan. I'm speeding this one up for your benefit. There you go, I decided to add one in the centre to make sure that it was nice and tight. We'll repeat that on all the edges. I love this Gorilla Wood glue. It's so easy to apply, but also to clean up. So it's very friendly with water, so you can always wipe it down with a wet cloth if you get it in areas that you shouldn't be getting it. You can see this coming together, and there you go. I actually love the contrast of the wooden look against the frame. So you can see the rattan has gone all taut from drying, and with that it has put a lot of pressure on this seam here. So I will just go in there with some wood filler, fill in that crack, because structurally it's still all fine, it's just put some pressure on the paint. So fill it in with wood filler, and then I'll go again with some paint. But it's looking really, really smart. These are the doors. We'll just be reassembly next. So I use a multi-purpose filler. You can use this with a palette knife, but I quite like using my fingers. I find it quite good to get into those nooks and crannies. And one less tool for you to clean. Just wiping it down here with a cloth. Right, I've got these screws, and the reason I'm talking to them is that we've got these lovely handles that I've sprayed, and we just need to make sure that the screw length is the right amount. So I have measured the thickness of my door frames, and they are going to come up to the first rivet or duck in there, and so we need to cut it on that second part. Now I don't happen to own a vise, so I'm going to be doing a bit of a hack using pliers to hold the screw in position, and then using a metal bladed hacksaw to cut this down. So if you don't have all the materials, you can definitely still accommodate this at home, because I know these come in the package with the handles, and I don't always want to suggest you go out and buy new screws. So let's do this. I've got 4 to do. I've done one and it worked. So I'll show you how I do this one. I should hold it there. I might just need to move you guys back. There we go. So I'm holding it with that. Actually, I think I did it like this. So I rested up against here so that didn't have anywhere to go. And then that's the first rivet. I want to go in the next. So do a little bit to get started, and then you can do longer strokes. Almost there. Oh, there we go. That is it. Small screw. Now to repeat 3 more times. Alright, we're at the stage of applying the handles. So I've done this by eye, so I just know what, we tend to have eyes that pick the most aesthetically pleasing position, and then I've just gone in with a ruler to have a look, and it's actually full and bang on 1.5 centimeters. So now I'm going to mark that out on here to get them aligned. And the next stage is a little hack I like to do, which is basically getting a pen, something, and I will draw around that hole there. So I'd paint on there, and then I would impress it on the doors so that I know where to drill, and I would just drill straight through that. Ooh. But to start, we need to measure this out. A reminder, if you are enjoying this, please like and subscribe, as it really supports my channel and you get to see more of these videos. Here I'm just making sure that it's really well aligned. It'll be pretty obvious if it's wonky. But there you go, I've got those 2 holes to drill through. I don't want to drill through this onto my... There's a nice piece of furniture under here that is yet to be restored. So I'd rather not have to fill a hole as well. But we do need to pick this screw. So the way I do this is take the screw that we need to make a hole for, and I'm always happier to make a slightly smaller hole than what my screw is to allow the threads on here, there we go, to bite into the wood. So you don't create a hole as big as the thread, because that way it's got nothing to grip into. This way it will have a bit of bite in it, but still go through the wood. All right. I don't have a screw punch, so I'm going to just use this head and gently find the center of these marks here and give myself a little bit of a dent as a starting point. There we go. All right, time to screw. And so you want to get over it so you can get as straight as possible. There we go. And we've got a hole. Well, my holes might be just that little bit too small. So I'm just going to go through them again. They're just a little bit too small, but I don't want to go up the next size. So I've just done a bit of a wiggle. Be careful doing a wiggle because you can break your drill piece. Sometimes doing it from the other side as well. Oh, now there's Odin going. So I've got 2 dogs now, and they do quite often entertain each other, but every now and then, the ball that Titan was after, Odin now wants. I always find the first draw that I do is where the trial and error comes in. Another tip I learnt after doing this is you could definitely hang them on the furniture piece. Oh, I've just had to pull this into place, and it has pulled away, the pressure has pulled away the paint there. Luckily, I can touch these things up, but it is so frustrating when you feel so close to the end and that sort of thing happens. But this is part and parcel with doing these projects. I've actually moved to a hand screwdriver and holding the handle and then putting pressure through. Well, the upside is they won't be going anywhere. Very, very tightly in there. So you can see the back side of this Just screwing these in. It is on, not as beautifully as I would have liked, but it does look very cool. Like and subscribe for the next one.